Oh, also, I meant to mention, I don't know if you guys noticed, that is clearly a male buffalo on that picture. All right. So, y'all can, and you get a better look at it on a handle.
I think they should have put their pick sticker somewhere else.
And welcome everyone to episode 50 of The Mashup, the best bourbon conversation you're going to hear all week long. We're your hosts, Michael, Anthony, and Steven. Hello, guys.
50. Are we celebrating something else? It seems like we celebrate something like every week.
I think you just want to celebrate.
Somebody's birthday, the 10th, the 25th, the baker's dozenth, you know. Feels like we're always celebrating something.
Could be Super Bowl 50.
I mean, I looked over there and, you know, where Steven likes to collect empty bottles in his sink, and he's got a birthday bourbon bottle in there, and we're almost ready for a CYPB bottle in there. So I thought we were celebrating something else. I don't know. Is there something coming up?
I think just that now that it's 50, we just kind of take the foot off the gas a little bit, and we kind of relax and, you know, go back to what brought us here, which is, you know, those regular bottles that people can get their hands on.
Yeah, we're getting about as regular as you can get tonight. So,
all right.
Well, guys, how about this weekend on football? It was a wild weekend.
I was every single time I was like, I'm not going to watch the playoffs because I think I've mentioned this before, but for those of you who don't know, I'm a long-suffering Cleveland Browns fan, and this was another disappointing year. And so I'm over here thinking to myself, am I really going to watch playoff football? And after that first weekend, I was hooked. And this past weekend with the divisional games was it was just insane. I'm like texting with like 9,000 people. I can't believe this is happening. You know, and every single game was just down to the wire. It was insane.
I mean, my wife doesn't get into football, you know, unless it's, you know, Kentucky football. And I mean, she was watching the Bengals game the other day. She was, you know, it's funny because she was actually getting on me during the season about how I was acting like an idiot in some of the Bengals games this year and how they were going and they were blowing it and, you know, and I was losing my mind. And now she's on the bandwagon. That game last night, the Chiefs and the Bills was just nuts, like back and forth. Just
oh man.
I mean, you never can you know, have Brady count him out, but
oh yeah. Well, we had to count him out. That was one that everybody was pretty.
Well, I think everybody was pretty happy with that.
Yeah.
I saw a thing the other day. It said like 10 years ago, if you had told me that people would be cheering for Tom Brady more than Aaron Rodgers, you'd have thought that Aaron Rodgers murdered someone. But you know, now it's like everybody's just happy he's gone too.
That's true. And you know what's funny? I was thinking back to the fact that when we talk about Tom Brady, because everyone wants to hear about Tom Brady, we talked about this, I think, last year. We talked about Tom Brady going back to the Super Bowl and how he kind of didn't want to see it. And I think I mentioned this, but if I didn't, it kind of reminds me of Michael Jordan when he was in his heyday. People like loved to hate him, but then they respected his greatness. And so I was just happy to see the Rams put him out because little known fact is that the Rams are actually, their franchise was started in Cleveland. They used to be the Cleveland Rams back in the 30s and 40s before they moved out to L.A., then to St. Louis, and back to L.A.
I think that's such a little known fact that I'm not even sure if it's true or not. But
well, who are you pulling for then? Who do you want to win the Super Bowl this year?
Well, it'll be the Bengals.
Bengals, yeah.
But,
Bengals.
You know, we'll see. They've already beaten the Chiefs once, so I'm feeling pretty good about that.
I got nothing against the Bengals. I'm rooting for them, but I'm also going to be rooting for the Rams because one of my really good friends I grew up with is a big San Francisco fan, so I just want to see the Rams beat his team just so I can make fun of him, you know, one of those things.
I'm kind of glad that Buffalo got beat just because, like, I hate watching football in, like, really cold weather. Like, I think that's stupid.
Really?
I know, you know, people are all, like, manly and stuff about it. They're like, oh, that's how football's supposed to be made and played and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. 90% of those players are from Florida, Texas, or California. They don't grow up playing football like that. So they'd rather be playing down there.
I was going to say they get to play more because they're not in cold weather, right?
Right.
So,
you know, that's what they even interviewed Brady one time. They were asking him about it. And he's like, I don't know why I didn't make this switch a lot sooner down here to Tampa. Like, you know, this is so much better to play.
He got that old man weather for him.
No doubt.
It's better for him.
Well, before we get to our bottle this week, guys, we have quite the number of shout-outs to go out on.
Oh, man.
We had 3 more anonymous. So thank you, anonymous, 1, 2, and 3.
I think people are just lazy.
That's fine.
What if one of them is a female? It's anonymous.
That's the best dad joke I've heard in a long time. That
I'm just trying to distinguish them.
gold star.
And then
You
we
win.
had one comment
From
AR Philly D.
All right.
Very nice. Thank you very much.
We appreciate that.
You know how I like how people on Twitter, they're like, oh, I don't reply to anybody that's got an egg for a profile, and then it's just your first name and then 9 numbers out to the side. I would love for a first name and 9 numbers to comment and just.
I would love to read that off.
We would give them a shout out every time. I'm all for fake accounts. Just keep padding our stats. I don't care.
Well, gentlemen, for this week, we have an old classic. We have a Buffalo Trace store pick.
Okay, so we got this Buffalo Trace pick. It's coming from Buffalo Trace Distillery. The bottle date is 2020. The ABV is 45%. Proof is 90. And the age for all Buffalo Trace, the regular standard Buffalo Trace product, is rumored to be 6 to 8 years old. And if you can get the information on a pick, a lot of the times it'll say how old it is, and those ones usually range from 6 to 8. And we got mash bill 1 this time, right? And so you guys have heard us talk about mash bill 1, 2, the wheated mash bill, and so forth, and the rye mash bill. So anyway, there you have it. And the MSRP on this guy is $30.
So I got this pick about a year and a half ago, and it's a handle. It's a 1.75. So I don't know what makes a store decide they're going to put out their picks in handles versus liters versus pints versus fifths.
That's a really good question.
You know, because I've seen them all. Like, you know, I would think that you're going to get more money for your barrel out of a fifth, probably a pint. But
Yeah.
But this store decided to do the handle, and I appreciate that.
Respect.
Yeah, exactly. So this one's from Bottles and Cases in Richmond. R.I.P.
R.I.P.
Yeah, it is out of business.
Man.
So, I'd never been there before. I won this. So I was in Richmond for a baseball tournament last year, and I decided I would pay a little visit to the store to find out, where this beauty came from. And turns out it's not at all what I thought it would be. You know?
Really?
Yeah. I was like, this is amazing that this place put that out. They had basically no bourbon selection at all. So, I'm sure that they probably had I almost wonder if it was like a group or something and they needed a liquor store to attach their name to. But anyway, this is a fifth. The bottle is a handle without a handle.
Nice.
Right?
Defeats the purpose.
Yeah, but it is a big bottle. It goes on the back. It's got a good Lewis and Clark story to it, on the back. It's got the ancient past of countless buffalo led America westward, and then it goes into this whole big story about the distillery, and it's got, I've never noticed this before, but I'm sure it's on other Buffalo Trace products. But, it tells you Buffalo Trace, blah, 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 distilled, aged, and bottled by Buffalo Trace, Distillery, Franklin County, Kentucky.
Oh.
So I like how it says Franklin County, Kentucky.
Yeah.
Anybody that's ever been there or knows where that is, that's Frankfort, right? It's a pretty good sized city. It's the capital of Kentucky. It's kind of like, did you ever watch wrestling growing up?
Oh, of course I did.
Yeah, Big Boss Man?
Yeah.
Yeah. They would always bill him as being from Cobb County, Georgia.
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
That really sounds tough.
Doing hard
That's like Atlanta,
times. Yeah.
It's like Atlanta. So
yeah.
That's what this is like, Franklin County, Kentucky. Oh, boy, that's out the hillbillies out there somewhere, So, anyway, it's kind of cool. Also, I meant to mention, I don't know if you guys noticed, that is clearly a male buffalo on that picture. All right. So, y'all can, and you get a better look at it on a handle.
I think they should have put their pick sticker somewhere else. Huh?
Yeah, So,
I'm pretty sure that they changed this buffalo quite
To
a few
the
years
female?
back. No, it just looked different, if I remember correctly. That's what I was trying to ask you guys. Remember when it changed?
maybe it was missing something.
I think maybe the fifth are female.
Maybe they are
buffaloes.
Yeah.
And the handles have a little male.
Yeah, maybe. But
I'm taking a closer look. Oh, my God. Would you look at that?
I told you. He saw a pretty little buffalo across the way there.
Until you mentioned that, I don't know how many bottles of Buffalo Trace I've had in my life, and I never noticed that.
I don't think I had
my
either
God.
until I was just sitting here staring at it earlier.
Steven's going to fall out of the chair. It's hands down the best bottle, review so
Thank
far
you.
ever.
I appreciate that. And I got a lot of Buffalo Trace products, so or picks. So
now we got to know why, right?
So we know what you collect now.
Yes, I'm a big fan. So it reminds me, just real quick, of
what?
All right, so well, I'm telling you right now, if you don't mind listening. So I took several years ago. We took a class to Old Friend's Farm in Georgetown. The horse farm down there,
yeah.
And they go through the whole thing about about breeding and all that kind of stuff. And we got this one kid, and these are teenagers, and he just was just fascinated by the same part of the buffalo there that we were talking about in the horse. And he just kept talking about it. And me and another teacher were like, all right, it's time to move on, buddy. We've probably covered all topics of that right there. So
when you did that, I was drinking.
I know.
And it went down the wrong way.
I was going to say,
and I don't think that's the right liquid to have go down the wrong way.
Probably burned a little bit.
Oh, it did.
Yeah. Good thing it wasn't foolproof.
No doubt.
But seriously, I do have a lot of Buffalo Trace picks. I like them. That's just my thing,
Yeah, if I was going to say, I can't wait to taste this thing because, I know that you keep that pretty sizable collection we'll talk about here in a minute, to keep on top of it.
So do you have a thing?
Do I have a thing in bourbon?
Like one that you just, anytime you see it, you're going to get it? Obviously you're going to get a blends every time you see it or something like that, and you might really like blends, but,
Mine's really sad, actually. I used to be like that with Four Roses picks. And that was actually pretty cool because that was actually, I think, before they were popular, before, people were like, this is a tier 7, top of the warehouse, south corner. It goes for $9,000. Before that time, I liked my Four Roses picks. And now, it's just, if I see Sazerac Rye anywhere, I buy it.
Right.
Which is weird.
That's a good one.
Yeah, it's a good one, but it's weird.
But, we talked a couple weeks ago. I said, I know a guy that anytime he sees a 1792 foolproof pick, he buys it, and or trades for it or something like that. So everybody's got a thing, Steven likes Steven collects Weller 12s.
That's right.
You know what?
And he drinks them so fast he never has any.
I know. Whenever I see any B-Tax, I buy them up.
Yeah.
That's
true too. Yeah.
Which one, the handy?
Oh man. Seriously though, Steven does like his Jefferson's collections.
That's true.
Or at least people think he does. He buying them for him.
I was trying to think. I don't even know if I have one that I think besides what you said, the weekly deliveries.
Right. Yeah.
Besides that, I don't know if I have anything that I buy.
I've gotten several picks. Spoiler alert, this is a really good one, but they're all really good. Liquor Barn seems to always put out really good ones here.
They do. That's true. I think I like some of theirs the best. When you're talking about the size of the bottles, though, I notice Total Wine's always putting the 375s out. They're probably trying to squeeze every single penny they can out of the SKU,
Yeah, they probably do.
Total Wine.
Yeah, obviously that's going to be your highest profit margin, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Every time that happens, it's like, oh, their store picks out. I go over there, and then I'm like, what the heck's this? They're like, limit one. There's like 375s of Eagle Rare or 375s of Buffalo Trace, and I'm like, can I really only have one? But that's not even a whole bottle. And they're like, shut up and like it.
So what are these, Steven? Like $25, $30, something like that?
The fifth? Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
That's what I would say. I think I paid maybe $40 for one time. That was the most I paid probably.
Okay.
But
reasonable too.
Yeah, no, that's not bad.
How much would this handle pick go for?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Because the handles are what, in the 40, 45?
It's in the 40 regular is,
I never bought one at retail, but I think I did pay like maybe $70 or $80 for one.
Right. That's what I was thinking. Something like that.
Yep.
Well, guys, should we go for our first notes?
What a nice nose.
Actually, it's really beautiful.
There's like
chocolate and caramel.
Yeah, very little ethanol.
You ever been in a meeting where you're fully invested in it and you realize you got to abstain from participating because you got too much of a stake in it? I'm abstaining from
is that what's going on right now?
because I don't want anybody to turn the episode off once they hear it.
When you mentioned the chocolate and caramel, it's like a very sweet caramel, like the dark heaviness that we get from some complex bourbons that we've tried. This is just like...
I've had this exact bottle before, and this is very nice.
So I'm the one that's the outsider here.
Yeah.
I'm the first timer.
Well, this bottle... How do we get to this bottle that we decided that was the best?
So we started. At that time I had 4 picks, 4 Buffalo Trace picks,
and we were stuck in the mountains of Tennessee.
Yep. We took
there you go.
Yep. During COVID, we took a little fall break trip to a cabin. Didn't leave the cabin, and just hung out there. And so we tried all 4 of them. And, the first 3 were about the same, and then I think this was like the last one we tried, and we were like, wow, that's a lot different.
That's a lot different.
Wow.
It was more complex, had more flavor, more depth, more nose. I mean, it was it's a completely different animal than the other ones.
Well, I guess it's a good mistake that I made then. When we were getting ready for the episode, I just wasn't paying attention because there's no handle on this bottle, and I accidentally poured myself like almost probably 2.5 ounces here. Usually don't go that big, but I'm happy I did now, especially I'm hoping when I taste this, it's going to pay off.
Have you ever seen, there's a guy, I'm not in the group, but my buddy is, and there's this guy that always he takes like a rocks glass, and he fills it up to the top.
Oh, God.
It's like every night.
Is that 6 or 8 ounces?
I mean, it's a lot. And then he always takes a picture of himself with this full glass. And so we used to make fun of it. And it was like every night for like 6 months he was doing that. Well, then he was just gone for a year and a half. We thought he died,
Did you never know what happened to him?
Well, just the other day, my buddy texted and goes, "He's back. Look." And there he was with his full glass again. So it looked like Anthony over there.
I guess AA didn't work for him.
No, I don't think it did. He
just rebounded.
He got to step 2. And
all right.
So that was too many steps.
Yep.
All right, should we go for our first taste?
Okay. So there aren't many bourbons that I can actually take a sip of and swish it around like it's mouthwash because, that doesn't always work out. This has absolutely no astringency to it, no bitterness. It's just like 100% harmonious. And the notes that I'm picking up are, it's got like a really subtle, nice sweet oak, a little caramel, a little vanilla, maybe a little like cherry. What are you guys getting? What's your favorite thing in this, Michael?
I just think it's just like you said, it's very sweet.
Yeah.
I mean, and there's no burn. I mean, at 90 proof, it doesn't even taste like 90 proof. Like it's just, it doesn't taste like alcohol. Like it just doesn't. Like,
holy cow! It's almost like somebody put sugar in it.
And it's really hard to explain without comparing this with another bottle to see how much different it is. Because we were blown away when we were doing the side-by-sides, because these were all picks that we were doing. Right? Was there one, like, control, or they were all picks?
No, they were all picks.
They're all picks.
Yeah, they're all picks.
And just, going back, trying to guess what floor it was on, like, how they picked it.
Yeah.
And then we got to this one, and we're like, oh, my gosh.
I did go through a phase where I had to have, like, the regular stock Buffalo Trace in my bar at all times. Like, it was just a must-have. Mm-hmm. And I know a lot of America is in that space right now because everybody in every market, regular Buffalo Trace seems to be getting harder to come by. This is that like tends to have like a little bit more of a rye bite to it. Like it's more spicy than regular Buffalo Trace. So this is just like off. You know what this reminds me of? I once had an Eagle Rare pick from I can't remember which store it was. It was somewhere in town, but it was so far off profile, and that's what made it great. It was like, okay, I'm used to drinking regular Eagle Rare, and now I got this pick, and it just tastes like nothing that I ever had from Eagle Rare. It's almost like it's a different barrel.
That was the weird thing. Our other 3 picks that we tried that night, if I remember correctly, were like BHG, Liquor Barn, and Total Wine. So like 3 places that are pretty reputable around here.
Yeah, you think they have a good pick.
And are kind of known for putting out good stuff. I mean, we were just talking about before the show how much Liquor Barn usually does a really good job of those. Mm-hmm. And they were all good. I mean, but
man, this is excellent.
But like you said, like how did this little store that is now out of business,
right?
And then how did they pick it? Was it one of those that maybe Buffalo Trace just picked it and they sent it to them, or was it like a group and they needed a store, like you said?
I don't know. And I think I just came across this by happenstance. Like I want a handle of it, in a Fireball, and then my buddy won a handle in a Fireball from the same guy. Wow. But he had different picks, and so like he just dropped them both off at one house, and I just picked this one up. I could have picked the other one up. Wow. Like it just
so a different pick altogether.
Right? Yeah. So I guess I got lucky on that.
Man, you did, and I was going to say like, no disrespect here, but how long have you had this bottle?
Oh, I mean, a year and a half. I mean,
I don't know how you kept it for a year and a half, because if I had this in my house, it would probably be gone.
I mean, that's why I work on some of the other picks too, because I'll come back to this one.
Yeah.
This is a great reason why you should try a pick.
Right.
Because if it's since this is off that profile so much, that's almost like a new bourbon.
Absolutely.
And it's so good.
I'm actually going to accuse Michael right here live in the recording of taking some other bourbon and putting it in here. Holy cow.
John Taffer accused somebody of that on Bar Rescue the other day. When I was watching that when I was stuck at home during all those snow days.
What was the bottle?
Well, he was just accusing them of pouring liquor into
bottles.
top shelf liquor bottles.
You know what's sad? That probably happens all over America.
That probably does, especially like with vodka and stuff.
Or they
like
put
no one knows.
water into bottles and stuff like that. Give you water down. I mean, I know I've ordered drinks sometimes at places, and I'm like, is there even any alcohol in this? And I'm like, I don't think there is. So
Buffalo Trace is a weird thing, though. Just some places don't get any of it. Like they never see it.
Yeah,
people go crazy over Buffalo Trace. And then there'll be times where it just sits on shelves. And then there'll be picks that come out that just sit there for a little while in some places, and my buddy I was just telling him that he bought a pick down in Georgia the other day. It was $25, but he had to spend $25 to get it. Which he's like, it's worked out. I bought a couple bottles of wine, and it was fine. I had to buy wine anyway, so this is weird, So I would say, here's what I would say: I would say that wherever you're at, find a Buffalo Trace pick, because I'm sure there's going to be one around somewhere at some point during the year.
Oh yeah.
I don't think I've seen Buffalo Trace anywhere in the store in a long time. I know it's just me not going.
Yeah, no, I run across it occasionally, like at Walgreens or something. But
I actually was in Total Wine the other day when they put regular Buffalo Trace out, and it was like people kept pointing at it.
No, I mean
like,
it's gotten
there. It is.
It's gotten to a point where it's gotten to a point where people post about that on Facebook, like, hey, there's Buffalo Trace now at Liquor Barn. Like
it used to be like a $23 bottle. Now everybody's pushing 30 on it too.
Yeah.
So,
no, I mean,
wow. So, gentlemen, would you pass, try, or buy Buffalo Trace bourbon?
I feel like I need to go first because I kind of feel like you guys, I already know how you both feel about this. And I am very surprised by this because I'm not usually overly impressed with most store picks. And I'm saying that from a standpoint of having bought a lot of them. So if we're talking about regular Buffalo Trace product, I'm always solidly a try because I feel like there's a lot of great entry-level bourbon. And I don't think it's worth running around and trying to find when it comes out. That's my personal opinion. So I'm going to try on that. But this particular bottle, I buy it 10 times over, and I'm actually going to take it home with me tonight.
That's what you think. That's what you think. He's trying to take it home in the form of the glass that he just fills up, and then
he's going to give you an empty bottle.
He dumps it in his pocket or something, and then pours another one.
He's got a camel on his back with the hump.
There you go. I'll figure it out. I'm going to get this bottle out of here. I'm just kidding.
Well, either way, if this was a pick or not a pick, I'm going to buy it.
Okay.
To me, BT is, for how inexpensive it is a great pour every single time. And this pick, I mean, I'll buy it 100 times over.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a special pick.
You know how people get on Facebook and they're like, oh, this is a great daily drinker right here. Well, I don't drink every day. So I don't drink that often, really, So a pick like this could last me until the next pick comes out in 3 months or whatever, So I'm buying a pick every time I see it, a Buffalo Trace. This one in particular, but nobody's getting this one. So,
what do you guys think of the fact that Buffalo Trace has always had this sort of iconic? It's become iconic, circular gold sticker that just has the generic name of the store in the middle. I mean, I know everybody has their own way of doing store picks, but presentation-wise, as simple as it is, it's actually brilliant because it just excites you as soon as you see that gold sticker.
And all they got to do is just use a regular label and a regular bottle and stick a sticker on there, But they do that for what? Like the Bland's is like that. Weller Foolproof when they do their picks and
it's everything.
OW. Anything.
I don't think
Buffalo.
It looks different anywhere.
Even Baby Saz and I think even like 1792. All the Martins or the Sazerac stuff.
Not to make this take a little bit of a dark turn, but if you are a person out there that's seeking these and you're buying picks anywhere on the secondary market, you need to be careful because these stickers all look the same. There have been instances, even here locally in town, where people have taken a sticker off of a bottle, put it onto another one, and they think you think you're getting a pick, but all you're getting is a regular bottle with a sticker on it. So always be very careful. Got to get a little tip out there.
Or if single spelled wrong on it.
Yeah.
Cingle. Something doesn't look right about this sticker.
Yeah, but
I don't think there's a V in barrel. No, but I'm buying it every time.
Yeah.
All the time. I mean, and really, you can get like if you just want to try Buffalo Trace and you can't find it anywhere, it's usually like $5 or $6 at a bar. Like it's not very much.
Well, it's funny that Buffalo Trace is such a has become such the regular product has become so hard to find. I actually the last time my brother was up from South Carolina, I had just went to a store that I frequent more than it. I won't say which store it is, and they actually had just got their Buffalo Trace and they sold me a case of it. And so, of course, I just took that and gave it to my brother when he came up for cost, and he took it down to back to South Carolina and had a field day. Everybody's excited because down there they weren't seeing it all the time, so he was really excited about that. So it's people chase.
So what I took away from that was Anthony had an opportunity to make money off of his brother, but he didn't. And then his brother took it to South Carolina and made money off of it.
No.
And with that, thanks for listening to this week's edition. Please like and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at The Mashup KY. Also, let us know your thoughts on the bottom in the comment section. Until next time, keep it neat.